Right, so Shane Jerman, MST Systems, official strongman, and Mr. Luke Richardson. So we're going to talk about Luke's training structure today. So we'll start with, I'll just go through it in day order. So you do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Is that how you work it? Yeah. So I put it on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And day one is a pressing focused day. But we'll start with log press, and we also have log strict press. And his first training phase had incline bench press as well. So there was kind of 3 big press variations there. And then there wasn't any other pressing, was there? It was just shoulder stability work.
Yeah, I was it, yeah.
So there's three main presses, and it works on a bi-weekly rotation. So we need to train for maximal strength, but also for clean and press conditioning. So the rotation that I use with Luke would basically be 1 week you would do clean and push press log, and then it would be strict press from the chest. And then the following week you would do like push press from the chest and clean and strict press each rep, sorry. The incline bench was just a linearly progressive training program that just built up to a 3 rep max I stopped at. I didn't take it to a 1 rep max just because there wasn't really any point on the assistants. I tend to only take them to a 3 rep max. But the reason why I do it on this rotation base is because we want to be able to build strength from the chest, because that's going to... A lot of people make the mistake on log of not doing the eccentric. They just dump it down on the pads. Obviously, we've got the pleasure of... Most gyms have like either punch bags or rugby tackle pads or something, which is great, but it kind of eliminates the eccentric on the log. And the eccentric's one of the most beneficial parts of an overhead press. So by making you press from the chest every week, it means that we're getting the eccentric benefits of training as well as the concentric only skill-based stuff. So the way I like to program logs is a little bit different to most people. I love to work on, for max log, what I call a specific repeatability basis, where we'll just do singles, but lots of them with timed rest. So it might be like every minute on the minute, 1 clean, 1 press, or if the percentage gets a little higher, it might be like every 90 seconds or every 2 minutes. Also depends on the fitness level of the athlete. I think I do it 90 seconds. And, yeah, so 90 seconds. And I think the heaviest we did that was like 150, 155.
155, I think, yeah.
For about 8 to 10 reps every 90 seconds.
Yeah, 8, I think 8, yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite a lot of volume. It's 10 reps at 150, 155, which was round about the 85% mark at the time. So it's a decent heavy load. But because we're doing it clean and press each time, it's a single. We're stepping away from the implement. It's training that approach. So stepping to the log, setting the log at the right angle, hands in the right place, etc. Whereas if you just do reps, like 3 reps at a time, for example, you can sometimes correct your mistake on the 2nd or 3rd rep and make the 3rd rep the best rep, which isn't the best practice. You want to be able to do the 1st rep as the best rep, and then it should decline as you go on because you're getting fatigued. So the clean and press singles with timed rest builds that motor pattern, because obviously you're getting more fatigued from the rest time being set at 90 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever it is. But you're having to approach the log each time, repeat that single. And then when you go into the strict press from the chest, that's where we'll focus more on that kind of raw pressing power, building stability in the rack position, because if you don't have stability in the rack position, then you're going to be really poor at pressing from the chest, because you're going to be bringing the log down, taking a couple of steps around, having to reset your thoracic spine and stuff. So pressing from the chest, hugely beneficial, and I think something that people kind of skip out on a little bit because of those reasons. It's hard. You have to kind of scale the load down a little bit, and that's why I like to rotate strict press from the chest and push press singles, and then the next week we'll do like clean and strict press and then push press from the chest, because we're kind of training both movement patterns from the chest and clean and press each time. The incline bench is just progressed linearly, and that'll be something that I'll rotate. So we've just got into the first rotation, so that's gone to floor press now. And again, the idea is just novel pressing stimulus. We peak it, we get a quick response. It'll usually elicit quick hypertrophy response due to the rep range, and also because it's a movement pattern that, I'm not sure, have you done much of that high incline before?
Not whatsoever,
no. So yeah, so it's like a newbie game basically. And then we'll rotate it to floor press. And have you done floor press before?
Nope.
No, so again, it's just another easy, novel stimulus. Yeah. Hopefully gets the same gains you got on the incline, and that will transition across to the log. Now day 2's deadlifts and front carries. So the rotation we went with first, we're kind of, the way you started, you were only at the 320-ish range, weren't you? So we went linearly first, and then started the light heavy rotation at about 370 or something, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, it'd been because of COVID. I hadn't been training in the gym. I've been on my drive, so it was my first week was like 325. I think the next week we did 350, and then it was kind of 380 for 5, and then it was dropped down to 3s, and then building them up just on the heavy week. So.
Yeah, so let's take that into account at the start. So the training block obviously started from a bit of a break. So, but now the way it's structured is a light and heavy week on the deadlift. But when I say light, it's kind of like it's not really light. But basically, my goal is to usually drop roundabouts the 10% mark and triple the volume. So if you did something like 400 for 3 on its heavy day, it would be like maybe 360 or 350-ish for 3x3. Basically just getting a good neurological response at lower load that's easier to recover from, and basically replacing the load with volume. So it's light, but I say light, but it's not really light, is it? It's just a different stimulus, and it gives that mental break as well, because I know what it's like. Obviously, you're going near 400 all the time, aren't you? You've not pulled many 400 deadlifts. No. It's nervous, and it gives you that nervous system fatigue. When you get that adrenal stimulus, and you're nervous, and you're a bit worried for your set, it hinders your recovery a little bit. So taking that week where it's like light, even though if I said to you do 360 3x3,
you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, you don't.
You just go in and do it. Yeah.
But if you think about it, like logically, 360 3x3 is a good workout. It's it's really good. But your brain's not like panicking all day.
It's probably harder than 400 for just one set.
Yeah, exactly. But your brain's relaxed. So that's why I call it light, because in my head it's like a non-hyped, non-adrenaline, fatiguing workout. It's just a little different approach, but it's still a heavy, hard workout. And then the front carries I do, I use my favourite method that I got off the Performance Vibe, Andrew Triano, which is called Heart Shock. And I just love it because of its simplicity to set up and the results you get from it. It's basically a jog, a sprint, and then a carry. The carry you can do whatever you wanted to. You could apply this to yoke or farmers. I like to just use it on front carries, but you could technically just do it with anything, and that is 1 rep. So jog, sprint, carry is 1 rep, and we start off at like maybe 1 or 2 sets of 3, and then increase the sets. Track the rest times, get the rest times down to a point where we're happy with, and then we might increase it to like 2 sets of 4, 1 set of 5, and then once we've peaked at that, I like to just basically increase the weight of the carry item. So say you were doing farmers at 80 kilo a hand, you could run that whole cycle and then go to 90 a hand or 100 a hand. Or if you're using a sandbag, just put a 5 or 10 kilo plate in the sandbag as your progression, start the block again. And then deadlifts will be finished off with just some kind of posterior chain-based assistance, I believe. I think we actually knocked that down quite a peg, didn't we, for recovery as it got
it got tougher because it was getting so much stronger, and then with the front carries that I wasn't doing usually before, and then it was trying to integrate my accessory stuff in, but then, you know, it gets to a point where you can't really recover from all it, doesn't it? So it's more just like upper back.
Yeah, because you had stiff legs, didn't you, as well, that you like to do. But the front carries are really hamstring dominant, so they kind of like replace each other, don't they? You still get, And the great thing about the front carry is for the hamstring hypertrophy, it's great time of detention. Like when you're carrying that sandbag 20 metres for like 15 seconds, whatever it takes, it's a lot of time of detention on the hamstring. And even when you're sprinting as well, it's hamstringy, you know, so it's a tough workout. So we rein back the assistance on the hamstrings and glutes to basically manage the recovery there. And then day 3, which would be Thursday, so Wednesdays usually take that off after 2 days on the trot. That would be another pressing day, very similar to Mondays, but different exercise selection basically. So axle is the priority there, and again I focused on strict press at first, and then we've just transitioned to push press this week, I believe. Is that right? Yeah. So yeah, we basically just built the axle strict press up. Again, it was a couple of things focusing on skill base on the clean to get the clean more efficient, and then using it as a second press day. So I wasn't too fussed about how well this day went, so to speak, because the main priority was day 1, and this was like what I call my press assistance day. So we just progressed it, and I just basically, with regards to that session's progression, it just depended on how he was doing. I took it week by week and just linearly progressed the axle strict press basically. The axle strict press, like I said, we just did a slow linear progression there. I wasn't too fussed about the actual progression, it was more about the skill acquisition and getting the extra pressing volume in basically, getting him accustomed to pressing on the axle and cleaning it. Now we're transitioning more to push press. His first session today actually, so it's quite good he's here because I can take a look at the technique on the push press, maybe refine some stuff so that going forward he can implement that. And again, it's going to be there as a press assistance and skill acquisition based exercise. We'll probably hold the load back a little bit because obviously strict press of 160 axle, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to start ending up push pressing, heavy log and then going to that 180 on the axle as well because that'll be a bit too much. But the thing with pressing twice a week like this for a strong guy is you just got to manage the sessions basically. And even if one session feels easy and pull back, that's okay as long as the other one's going really well. And then obviously depending on the comp, if axle became the focus, you might just switch the session so that axle's the main priority. And then the press assistance for that day was the bench press. And I've just taken him through my favourite training phase of bench press, which is 3 weeks of eccentrics and 3 weeks of yielding isometric contractions, which some people say you shouldn't bench press in strongman, but as Luke's already covered, he's very efficient at benching, his technique's really good, he recovers really well from it. Basically, the more efficient you are at a movement, the better you recover from it. So if you've mastered the bench press pretty much, which Luke has, his technique's pretty much bang on. It means he can get away with training it. It's not going to give him any internal, external rotation issue in his shoulders because of his scapular position. And he's just able to get a great stimulus from it that gives that strength response to the body. You remember when the body gives the brain a strength response, it doesn't just tell it to get good at bench press, it's telling feedback to the morphology of the muscle and the triceps, the delts, etc., to get stronger and contract better. Intramuscular coordination improves, fiber recruitment improves with eccentrics and isometrics. So it's just a brilliant thing to add in for him. Is it for everyone? No, but for Luke, absolutely perfect. So that's why we've done that bench press phase. And I mean, the results kind of speak for itself. He's going to end up benching a PB today with a pause, so it's working. And then there's, I believe, just some, again, shoulder stability work to finish. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my favourite shoulder stability exercises are power raises, trap 3 raises, seated rear delt raises, just external rotations, just elbow on knee external rotations is a good one. Face pulls, you can do face pulls with some external rotation as well if you wanted to. But again, rotating them, so I'm a big fan of rotating assistance due to repetitive strain, and I just think the adaptation and response goes after a little while. So you might add power raise in for 6 weeks, then sub it for a trap 3, and then sub it for a face pull, and you're still getting shoulder stability work every session, but you're rotating the exercise and getting that novel and unique response each time. And then session 4 of the week, the final one, is his squat day. At the moment, you're on the safety bar, aren't you?
Mm.
And again, it's kind of working on a similar rotation to the deadlift. So when he deadlifts heavy, he squats heavy. And then when he deadlifts lighter, his squat is lighter. The difference there is I do make the light squat what I would consider light for you because unlike the deadlift where I say it's just slightly pull back a little bit, I try and make it pretty easy. The reason being is because then about 3 or 4 days later you're going to be deadlifting, so we don't want to carry any fatigue over. So that's quite an important one to. That's why I was kind of a bit stuck, to be honest with you, because I didn't know whether to deadlift heavy and then squat light. But then I decided that you'd be squatting heavy and then 3 or 4 days later deadlifting heavy. It wouldn't fall right. So I'd rather have a full light week.
Yeah.
That's what I went with. It's the first time doing that, to be honest, but it just kind of made sense in my head. So that's why I did that. And then we finished that session with Yoko farmers, don't we? Again, bi-weekly rotation, so 1 week is yoke, 1 week is farmers. Distances and times are tracked, and again, it's pretty much on the fly. I'll see something I noticed he wasn't on his farmers and yoke. He was kind of speeding up after 10 meters. It looked really fast the last 7 meters, but the first 10 was a bit shit. So I just decided to give you 10-meter runs, and instantly it was a really fast 10 meters. So then we're going to try and apply that to the 20-meter run. Start fast, end fast. Hopefully get a quicker time than when we first started. So it's pretty basic in terms of progressions and stuff in areas, and a little complex in others. But the general structure, I think, is set up really well at the moment. It will change. I'm not going to stick to this structure forever, but I'm the kind of person, if something isn't broke, don't fix it. So we'll bleed this dry. When I feel like it's time for a restructure, we will do a restructure. and hopefully see again novel response from a restructure. But it might be 6 to 8 months till we even need to think about that. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been finding it absolutely brilliant. Like I say, it's been a completely different training approach for me, not just with exercise selection, but with sort of the way that, you know, I'm doing sets, I'm doing them every rep on kind of every 90 seconds, really refining skill, and then really kind of linearly peaking exercises that you'd never think to do, like the incline bench. But then I went from incline benching 120 for 10, and it was like quite hard, to incline benching 180 for 3, and it was quite easy. So, and that's in 6 weeks. So, you know, and that, it was a high incline as well, so that's going to have a great carryover to log and axle and anything that's sort of like overhead anyway. Same with kind of everything else. The bench, exactly the same. The axle, you know, I can get my legs involved quite well. I haven't been push pressing for long, but for me it was kind of always shoulder strength, because coming from powerlifting I didn't really do much over pressing. So, you know, if I can get my push press better doing the stuff on a Monday, and then that axle's now come up and now we're adding in a push press on that, that's going to feel really strong as well. And then, yeah, just the cardio stuff, you know, I really like the sandbag medleys, the front carries. It's good for, immediately after 2 weeks I could feel the difference in sort of like my hamstring work capacity, like during it. So it was like, the first week, the first run was absolutely terrible, my hamstrings felt like they were going to tear off, and then the second week it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And then the third week it's like, it doesn't hurt at all, I'm actually able to like speed up and push through, like whilst I'm carrying the sandbags, and then it's obviously recovery, speeding up. And then on a Friday as well, with the moon events, really working on speed and, you know, getting stuff up heavy as well, and then doing the cardio after that as well, just absolutely just trying to be really, really well rounded. And then I think with the kind of rotations of things each week, I'm feeling like solid from a recovery perspective as well. So even when it is a light week, I'm still feeling decent. I'm not going into a light week thinking, oh my god, I fucking need this, I'm fucked. But then that's almost nice to almost be really recovered for that next time.
You're like nipping it in the bud. Instead of recovering when you need it, you're like doing it just a bit before. Yeah,
it's like as you go, it's not just like, oh, I need to recover now. It's like, all right, well, I'm starting to feel a bit fatigued, but like this week's light and I feel decent. And then by the time you come around to that heavy week, you know, you're 100%. And
what about your core as well? I forgot about that, because we've been doing. You week one, you had a lot of cramp issue, didn't you? Cause how's that now?
Just the same, yeah. We're doing.
But you're cramping still.
No. I mean, with same as the hamstring medleys.
Yeah, it's got.
I mean the sandbag medleys, front carry medleys. What was it? It was like them.
Hollow holds.
Hollow holds. They were awful. I was cramping 10 seconds into the first set. Like, I mean, I was just trying not to just like cramp my abs basically. Then after 3 weeks that got better, and then it changed to like, you know, different stimulus, and then it was sit-ups, and now it's front planks. But you know, even the front planks are doing 6 seconds on, 6 seconds off, 6 seconds on. Like, I can remember in my powerlifting days I'd be like dying trying to do like a 30-second plank hold.
Yeah.
So I think just all of the kind of, it's almost like a really well regulated sort of full body approach to almost everything, and I think that's helped with kind of core and
the thing with cramping and stuff, it is a lot of people think straight away, oh, my abs have cramped when I'm doing core, I'm not hydrated, I need salts. It could just be a work capacity issue of the muscle. If it's not used to working for that amount of time or this much load or whatever, that can be a neurological response is for it to cramp. I mean, cramping is predominantly neurological. It's a brain signal. It can be like a misfire. It doesn't have to mean you're dehydrated or something. Same with hamstrings and carry medleys. A lot of people will get hamstring cramp on carry medleys, and the first thought is, oh, I'm dehydrated, and it could just be that your hamstrings aren't used to doing this. You need to do it more often, and that work capacity will build. And then, like you say, the hollow holds. Although you've not trained forearm plank, you've transitioned into that, and it's better because core is quite specific in nature, and they all kind of bounce off each other. The main reason for rotating those, to be honest, is the fucking boring. So you rotate. You could technically do hollow hold and get the same benefit every week, but by rotating it, it's just something fresh for your mind to go into. And you're getting that benefit of work capacity in the core, which you might not think about it, but it carries over to stuff like yoke and farmers and anything where you've got to be braced for a period of time. Strongman, you've got to be braced sometimes for, like powerlifting, you have max squat. By training max squat, you get that maximal tension in your core, and you're able to hold it for a couple of seconds. But it gets different when you're at that 30-second you know, a range and you're repping out a squat, you see people start to be stood there like this and they're wobbling because the core just doesn't have the work capacity to stay still.
Well, that's the thing. My first comp that I did a 400 kilo yoke for 20 metres, and I dropped it twice because my hips were popping out.
Yeah.
You know, I'd squatted 403 kilos raw, so the yoke was less than my squat.
Yeah,
but I didn't have the core strength to keep my hips under it. Whereas now, I just pick it up and it's almost like, I almost think, why did that even happen in the first place? Because I just feel so kind of stacked and on top of myself. Like, just know where to put myself now. I've got the strength.
The key point to take away really is just, like I mentioned before, make sure we tick off everything, and make sure each exercise is there for a reason. And if you can't progress something or track it, why are you doing it? Like even the assistants, I think the biggest mistake I see people make with assistants is kind of what you said before about just grabbing the dumbbells and doing some incline dumbbell press to finish. Like track it. If you want to do incline dumbbell press, if your dumbbells only go to 50, maybe it's not the best exercise for you if you can't do a strength progression there. If you need 70s or something, then don't use that assistance. You've got loads of options. You can do mechanical progression, so you can start your incline low and ramp it up, or the other way around, or you can do floor presses, you can do close grip, wide grip, you can do pin press, like you say you do powerlifting day, you do pin press. There's loads of different variations you can do to mix up your training and get that novel stimulus. And like I said, the incline improve quick, the floor press will improve just as quick, and I guarantee you it will carry over to log really well. That's what I think at the end of this floor press, that's what I've decided that 200 log's coming from, just so you know. Well, when that floor press gets like I don't know what you hit, but when we get to like 3 rep max territory on that, after a second, basically a second peak of pressing assistance, I really think that you'll log 200.
Well, that's the thing, when I did that incline bench, it was popping right off my chest, and it was like that mid-range where I could actually feel my triceps kicking in, and that doesn't usually happen for me. So.
Bloody amateurs.
Yeah. That's quite Luke Richardson on Instagram. Yeah. I'm a big deal. Just type in my name, I'll come up.
You know, follow me. You know me on Instagram.
Yeah. Right. So, thanks for watching, guys. Myself and Shane Jerman, MST Systems, for all of your inspiration and coaching needs. And I am Luke Richardson, and I'm not going to plug my Instagram because I get ripped for it. But you know, I'm Luke Richardson, so just go follow me.
Follow him, Luke E. Richardson.